Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are diving deep into the Rejuvacare FootRenew Massager. This device, well, it's got some really high-octane marketing behind it, positioning itself as, a revolutionary fix for foot pain, circulation, even serious nerve issues.
Right.
So our mission here is to sift through the sources we've gathered, marketing stuff, what science says, customer reviews, and figure out basically, does this thing actually work as promised? Or is it just more overhyped wellness gear?
Yeah, this is a really great example of what consumers face, especially with direct-to-consumer health products. They often use, well, very specific language, medical sounding terms to really push sales. We need to look past that branding, and see if there's any real substance there.
Okay, let's start right there then. With those big claims, the ads mention things like surgical grade nerve repair,
Mhm.
and they call it a breakthrough treatment for neuropathy, which, for listeners, that's serious nerve pain or numbness, often in the feet.
Exactly. And when you hear phrases like surgical grade or breakthrough, your skepticism alarm should definitely go off. The interesting part here is the gap between those claims and, well, the reality. The device uses pretty standard technology, heat, vibration, maybe some mild electrical stimulation, stuff that can feel soothing, offer temporary relief, sure. But our sources found little, maybe no, actual scientific evidence backing up claims of repairing nerves or being a real medical treatment.
So, are we saying it's basically not much different functionally from, say, a decent foot spa or a basic massager you could get for much less, despite the higher price?
In terms of actually treating something like neuropathy based on clinical proof,
Yeah.
yeah, most likely not much different. The sources suggest these bold statements aren't backed by proper trials or, expert medical endorsements. It really looks like marketing language designed to justify that price tag. And we also saw notes about high-pressure sales tactics on the website, too.
Okay, but maybe, even if the science is shaky, it gives enough temporary relief or placebo effect that some people find it worthwhile. What happens when we look at what actual customers are saying? The experience on the ground.
Right. And this is where it moves from just questionable marketing into um, potentially real risk for the consumer. The reviews are, well, mixed at best about how well the device itself works. Some people do report that temporary soothing feeling, which is something. But the biggest red flags popping up are more about logistics and, crucially, money. Complaints that go way beyond just, it didn't work well.
Okay, those financial red flags, we definitely need to dig into those. That sounds serious. What are people complaining about specifically?
It's mostly the billing practices. We found quite a few reports describing what sounds like deceptive billing. The most critical one seems to be unauthorized recurring charges.
Wait, unauthorized charges, how does that happen?
It suggests that maybe some fine print or like a pre-checked box somewhere during checkout signs people up for a subscription they didn't realize they agreed to. So what they thought was a one-time purchase suddenly becomes this ongoing charge hitting their card.
That sounds like a nightmare. How do they manage to keep customers stuck with these hidden fees?
Well, it seems they rely on making things complicated and unclear. And this ties right into the other major issue people report, that 90-day money-back guarantee. On the surface, a guarantee sounds great, right? Gives you confidence. But based on user reports, trying to actually use that guarantee is incredibly difficult.
Difficult how?
People say the policies are vague, customer service is unresponsive or hard to reach. And then there's the kicker. The customer has to pay for the return shipping. Often that cost is pretty high. It basically makes the whole process so frustrating and expensive that, yeah, a lot of people probably just give up.
Right. So let's try and sum this up. The verdict on the Foot Renew Massager seems to be, it's maybe not an outright scam in the traditional sense, but it definitely lives in that murky gray area of overhyped wellness products. It seems to offer very little proven benefit beyond temporary comfort, while potentially exposing customers to, frankly, financial headaches and frustration.
Absolutely. The takeaway for listeners has to be, if you're dealing with chronic pain or a condition like neuropathy,
Yeah.
the best first step is always talking to a doctor or a qualified health professional. Or if you are looking for a device, look for products that have actual clinical vetting behind them from companies that are transparent and reputable about their billing and guarantees.
Yeah, and maybe the final thought for you is this. When a company uses language like surgical breakthrough, but their business practices seem to involve hidden charges and making returns nearly impossible, you really have to question it. Remember that sounding high-tech doesn't always mean high quality. Sometimes the biggest risks aren't about whether the product works perfectly, but whether dealing with the company itself is going to cost you more than you bargained for. Always do your homework.